Hi, I'm John Corvino. You know how on Grindr and Tinder and Scruff and other dating apps, people will sometimes put racial restrictions, like no blacks or no Asians or only white guys? And when you point out to them, that sounds kind of racist, they get all defensive like, no, it's just a preference. I mean, I'm not into women, that's not sexist. Why is this racist? Well, let's look at that question. And let me begin by acknowledging that we all have preferences and desires that we experience as sort of given. We don't choose them the way we choose a shirt or an ice cream flavor. But that doesn't mean we can't step back and critically examine them. When we do that with racial preferences in dating, we find there's a lot of social science data showing that these preferences are highly correlated with other attitudes that most of us would recognize as racist. People who say, I'm not interested in dating blacks, also tend to be the same people who say, I don't want them moving into our neighborhoods or being in our schools, or who harbor stereotypes about them as threatening or lazy or unclean, which suggests that these preferences may be part of a deeper problem with how we think about race, one that we ought not to be so complacent about. Okay, you might say, but I just have the preferences, I can't change them. Well, maybe you can and maybe you can't. But here's one thing you can certainly do. You can stop broadcasting them on your dating profile. Because when you do that, you just reinforce the racist environment. Think about it. Racial minorities in our country receive all kinds of negative messages in the media, in the workplace, in schools, telling them, you're not wanted, you're not attractive, you're not valued. And then you come along with your profile and just pile on. You take an already marginalized group and you underscore the message, hey, you don't belong here. It's not nice, and it's not necessary. I mean, there are all kinds of reasons a particular person may not interest you. Maybe you just don't like the curve of their smile or their height-weight ratio. Maybe it drives you nuts that they can't seem to get the difference between the possessive you're and the contraction you're. Normally, what do you do in those scenarios? Well, you can ignore or block or swipe left or move on or say, no thanks, not for me. Any of those responses seems a lot better than saying, hey, you historically oppressed people, the people that society tends not to value, I want you to know, before you even think about talking to me, you're not wanted here either. It's not nice. It's not necessary. And frankly, it's not very sexy either. I'm sorry, this is not going to work. No Republicans.